Hey guys, this is May, and welcome to May's Conversations. And these are shows where we invite guests to come and share a little bit about their personal experiences, especially pertaining to some of these psychological profiles that we have been examining for the past few episodes. So today's profile is Sun-Saturn, also known as the Achiever. So what we're going to hear today are stories of people who have been living with the high standards that I'm not good enough, I need to try harder, and all the top achievers, top performers. But I think what's more interesting is how then does somebody break out of that model to be able to find perhaps a different kind of reality that we create for ourselves. So this is very close to me because I'm also a Sun-Saturn, but I also want to introduce my guests today, and they are Anu and Shi Xin. Okay, so I'm going to have them introduce themselves. Anu.
Thanks, May. So, hi everyone. My name is Anu. Actually, Anupama Biswas, but very difficult to pronounce my entire name. So, I actually am a regional director with an MNC company. So, full-time job I do. But I have also now started doing my own little thing, which I call as Voice of Healing, where I actually help people with mental challenges, mental issues. I can actually, I help them to actually come out of some of the depressions or any kind of challenges that they're facing, even from a relationship standpoint. Those are the areas that I actually help people, which I do on the weekends because my weekdays are quite full with my corporate job.
Hi everyone, I'm Shi Xin. I just left my corporate job, leaving behind about 15 years of government service, working in the government service, and right now I'm a full-time aero arts teacher. Now, if you're wondering what an aero art is, if you have attended a circus like Cirque du Soleil, if you see these performers like doing some stunts on a metal hoop or 2 strands of cloth, that's what I do.
Today's topic is really about that whole Sun-Saturn thing. And you know, when I first got to know both of you, it's like the first impression is always like, wow, this is somebody who's really gotten somewhere in their career. Is it really important for you so far in your career that to have gotten to that level of conventional success? Like, what was your experience?
Yeah, absolutely, May. So I think, even as a kid, right, like we were always told that you need to be successful. And I think for me, therefore, anything that I looked for or I did, for me, it was always very important that I be the best. And therefore, certain badges also then reconfirms that you are successful, right? Which is how I think like 21 years of my work life has been.
But so is it true that as the achiever, you literally had a whole list of achievements?
So yeah, so in school I was a head prefect. That was that was the case. But even at work, like I was with this company, I was consecutively for 10 years, I was the best performer in the company. In fact, I also got industry recognition for being the best in the industry for a particular the field that I am in. So yes, I have got lots of applauds, and I think it's also like a drug, right? Like every year I became a top performer. So if the next year I didn't become one, it wasn't easy for me to accept that as well.
I was aiming to be the top, like in the class, in the top class, and the top student, and it lasted pretty much all the way through JC and university. In fact, I was actually close to being the valedictorian. So that means it's top of the cohort, right? So yeah, so it's been a journey of trying to aim higher and higher in whatever I do.
What drives this need to be number one?
Okay, so in my case, this was my father. Actually, he had very high standards for us. He always said, nobody talks about the second if you're not the first, right? So I think he kept pushing me for sure. I won't say I did that for my father because it's not that I felt that he would feel less about me if I didn't achieve it. But in some form, I felt that he had the confidence in me that I could achieve it. And I think it was more of that part that he believes in me, so maybe I can do it.
So actually, I think for my parents, they're quite okay with me just getting 70, 80, it's fine. But somehow it just came from within, like just mysteriously appeared, and I felt this really strong urge to really set high standards for myself. and really to achieve those standards.
So, just thing I wanted to ask you, and before I ask the question, I want to explain something to the audience, all right? Because I'm their teacher and I know their charts well. And in fact, because their signs are different, so even if you have Sun-Saturn, in Anu's case, she has Sun in Capricorn. And therefore, she will experience it more as there is an existing standard which you have to go and meet up to it. But Shi Xin is a Pisces. So what this actually means is he may not experience it as he's there yet, but rather that there's an ideal and that you actually want to reach the ideal. So my question to Shi Xin is more like, was it that you were trying to elevate yourself or your family to an ideal that you thought, wouldn't it be nice if we were this? And did you experience it that way?
I suppose I did when I was young, because my family wasn't from a good background. We were quite lower middle income. And my belief was that if I could get well in my studies and get a proper job, earn enough money, I could elevate my family to a higher socioeconomic status. So I think that really drove me from within. So I think in my mind I was like imagining my family being pretty comfortable, well-to-do, and that really drove me towards overachieving. During JC days, sometimes my father would like drive me to school. But he was driving an old van, whereas my classmates were riding in their comfy cars. And what I'll tell my father is that I just stop a bit away from that school entrance. I'll just walk myself towards the school entrance. You just don't let my classmates see you. There's this ideal where I want to be in a comfortable family who can ride in good cars, and drive their children to school.
We want to be very curious about where does this drive for excellence come from. And once we realized that the end game was maybe never about getting higher marks in an exam, but rather what those higher marks meant. It meant that maybe we could live up at a higher social status. So what's interesting that we get from a lot of these sharings is that the drive to be number one or to be very good at what we do seems to be driven by, it's like a standard that didn't come from us, but we sort of like looking at what is considered good. What is considered number one? And one of the characteristics of the achiever is looking to external things to validate that, wow, you're very good at what you do. Well, you got 80 marks means you are good. Head prefect means you're good, right? But the thing is, so if you are not head prefect means that you are less than. If you got like 70 points, it means that you are less than the person who got 90 points. And it's like the Sun-Saturn can experience that. In fact, all three of us, Sun-Saturn people, have actually gone and made a bit of an interesting decision in our careers. That despite being very square and we've taken that very conventional route for most of our lives, actually we've chosen interesting choices. Like, for example, I became an astrologer, and Anu, despite her very high-class director position, is a healer. And Shi Xin, it has served in government for 15 years, she said. And Shi Xin is an artist. What made you pursue healing?
I think it came back to that same thing, right? Coming home one day and asking, I'm not even saving lives, why am I working so hard? I think it all started with this whole quest of, what am I doing? Like, you keep, every morning I wake up, finish all the work, come back home, but I felt there was something completely missing. So I actually started off this entire journey. So I started with Reiki, then I did past life, then I did Akashic reading, then I did animal communication.
At the time, my mindset was, I need to try everything once. I should try everything once. I must try everything once. And I've been trying different types of sports and dance, and I just happened to chance upon pole dance, and I just went on. And basically, I got hooked, essentially.
But what's interesting is that for both of you, you did find something that you didn't just want to do it for fun, you actually started developing professional skills. Because as of now, Anu actually has her own practice. So she doesn't just go for courses, she's been very humble, but actually on weekends, she's seeing clients, and you've been seeing clients for a while now.
Yeah, usually 3-4 years now.
3-4 years, and Shi Xin teaches aerial art. So he doesn't just show up and attend classes, he's actually passing it on. There are students who perform because he trains them to perform. What what actually drives this need? Is it the same need for perfection and mastery that drove your original strive to be successful? Does it also apply into this very unusual trait?
It's not just about turning up in class and attending and learning those tricks and poses and all that. I actually went for an instructor certification program, and within about 4 or 5 years of picking up the skill, picking up the sport, I actually signed up for an international competition. Basically, it was me setting high standards for myself. Again, it's like the same story coming in.
First collection of all certificates, as he said.
Yes. That's what we always do, right? Certificate first.
Yes.
Because it becomes that you at least for me personally, like in the whole energy healing, there is a part of certification.
Is there a message that you like to share from your own experience? Maybe we start with Shi Xin.
I would say just go for it. Yeah, I mean, it feels scary, but if this is your heart's calling, yeah, you should consider going and pursue what your passion and what your heart has been telling you to do.
Yeah. Anu?
I am completely with Shi Xin on this, because I personally believe that in life, what we need to chase is not how much money we make or where we are. I personally believe at the end of the day, people who are happy are not the richest people in this world. People who are happy are people who found what their calling is, and they've actually closely chased that calling. And I think we're all so stuck up in this societal pressure on what people believe we should be doing. I think we just need to reflect more internally and ask ourselves what gives us happiness. And once we have that answer, I would say just go out and explore and see where it takes you.
And I would like to add that if what you're trying to do on the weekends is creating a lot more value to the world, I think you should go for it, because there's so much love that you can put out to the world, and you can do that better on weekends than doing in your corporate job from Mondays to Fridays. I think you should consider doing this on a more full-time basis.
Now, the Sun-Saturn PA also refers to the sun being identity and expression, but the problem is that Saturn is also limitations and restrictions. So I think what we have learned today is that if you can't really change who you are fundamentally, then you can actually apply other factors in Saturn, such as structure, mastery, and hard work, plain hard work, into building a successful career, even if you take the path less traveled. So if you're new to astrology and you'd like to know a little bit more about your birth chart, you can check out the link over here. Just key in your birth information and you can generate a simple profile about yourself. And until then, I'll catch you in the next episode.